What is the dumbest way you got laid? Drunkenly told a woman carrying yogurt in a hotel hallway that I love yogurt and she had the best yogurt. She asked if I wanted some and I said yes, and followed her into the room. This is 10 a.m. by the way. She proceeds to tell me she is a lesbian, and I say that they're known to be the most cunning linguists around, and that I want to learn from her, and simply asked if I could practice on her and get feedback. She agreed. This led to sex, she said. Afterwards, she was not a gold star lesbian and would occasionally try a man's genitals from time to time in lieu of dildo. Never spoke again, learned names, or swapped numbers. 10/10ths, best yogurt I ever had. When I was 18, I was at a costume party after being dumped by a guy earlier that day. A few drinks later, and after venting to my best friend, I got up, stood in the yard, and said, I just want to fuck someone who doesn't care about me. Guy standing near me in a cow costume turned his head, said, let's go, and led me into the house and upstairs. Played spin the bottle with 3 other friends. 2 friends were given some kind of lame dare to kiss each other, but were embarrassed to kiss in front of me and my female friend. So, female friend says let us go out the room so they can kiss, won't take a second. I leave the room with her so my other friends can kiss in private, which I thought was weird. She closes the door, proceeds to start passionately kissing me, and before I know it, we had sex up the wall of my bathroom. She was pretty much a 10/10ths and I am not. Couldn't believe my luck. Took a bet in a pub in Toronto. Went to a girl and whispered to her ear, I can speak French between your legs. Was ready and waiting for the physical comeback to hit my face. Instead, she spilled all of her drink through her nose and we ended up at her place. I hope you properly followed through and shouted, bonjour, at her vagina. The dumbest way I've ever been laid was by sharing my League of Legends rank with a girl I was talking to back in the day. Apparently my rank, which was relatively high at the time, top 0.5% of players, was such a turn-on that she ended up asking me out on a date which later resulted in us sleeping together. So gamers, don't let your dreams be memes. There's someone out there for all you. At a party, when a really cute Asian girl ran up to me holding her hair awkwardly and asking me where the bathroom was, I told her, and she grabbed my hand and pulled me down the hall with her. In the bathroom, she said she needed help washing the ketchup out of her hair. She let go of her hair, and in her hand was a couple of ketchup packets. Then she says, okay, let's take a shower. Who am I to argue? To this day, I have no idea what her name was. I went to use a public phone box. Yes, I am that old. And there was a lady who came up to it just behind me. I actually didn't want to make the call, so I said that she could go first. After her call, she waited outside the phone booth, and when I was done, she said that she was so touched by my chivalrous actions that she wanted to buy me a drink. We jumped in her car and she took me straight to her place and we had sex. It was pretty awesome, Mom. My best friend and I were having a going-away party as we were moving out of state. We pretty much looked alike. Both tall with long shoulder-length hair. One of our mutual friends arranged for him to get laid as a going-away gift. All the girl knew about him was he's tall with long hair. Long story short, he cut his hair the day before the party and I ended up getting laid. I once randomly texted a girl that my friend gave me the number. I said, hey, it's the Brad Pitt of insert city here. I then proceeded to lose my virginity to her. Best 3 seconds of my life. A girl I work with invited me out to go shopping with her for some art supplies. On the way to the store, she hit a pothole and said she'd call AAA to come out and fix it. I know how to change a tire, so I told her not to waste the time waiting for the repair guys to come out, so I just changed the tire myself. She bought me a soda from the gas station we stopped at, and later that night we did the deed. I'm convinced the tire change is the X factor in this story, even though she says it isn't. We've been dating 8 months now. Stopped by this dude's place for a hookup. He asked me to suck his dick, which tasted really funny, like he hadn't washed his junk in a few days. I asked to switch things up because I was starting to gag from the taste. He immediately tried to ram his cock into my bone-dry pussy, and when things weren't working, instead of using some foreplay or going down on me, he just spits on my vagina to wet me up and keeps trying to get his dick in. Felt like sandpaper. I was so unaroused. I tried to get into it because I'm a good Samaritan, but he came in like 4 pumps and then acted eager for me to leave when he was done. One of the worst hookups ever. This loser continued to call me for an eternity and tried to play the whole nice guy act when I told him respectfully that I wasn't interested. Later, I found out he had a GF the whole time. So Irike, he was so devastated by the rejection. 010 would not fuck again. Once I was invited for the 100th birthday of a grandpa of a friend of mine. I banged the cousin of my friend there. Apparently all the guests heard her. My five though is another one. A pub, disco thing. I notice a girl looking at me. I approach, and for a very brief but awkward moment I said nothing. I was just looking at her eyes, and then I said the dumbest shit ever that would have resulted in a slap in all the other possible scenarios. Wanna bang? Trombiamo, in Italian. Fucked a guy that I met over PlayStation while playing Warframe. It was definitely worth it since he's a sweetheart, and we've been together for about a year or so. Accidentally ended up on a Valentine's date last year, was just looking for people to go to karaoke with. She asked what I was doing on Thursday, V-Day last year. I said karaoke and asked if she wanted to go. She said sure if we could get dinner first. Realized a day later I'd just agreed to a proper date, so booked a fancy restaurant. She wanted to get shots afterwards. I was like, cool, karaoke bar is a few blocks away. But she insisted on some bar in the party district. Shots do nothing to me, but she got terpsed up and started macking me, then told me to invite her back to her place. I did, but part of me was like, but we haven't even gone to karaoke. Had a girl grab me by the dick, tell me she wanted it right now. Then, after an embarrassingly short duration of her tornado hipping me to ejaculation, she put her panties on and started crying, saying Jesus wouldn't love her because of what she'd done. No, she wasn't a virgin. So I apologized, completely confused, and made the resolution of that, never happening again. 6 years later, she saw one of my friends and casually said that I raped her after asking how I was doing. Met a girl on Tinder, and we decided to bake cookies together at 1 a.m. after I left work. As soon as the cookies were done, she looked over at me and asked if I wanted to go fuck. Texting a girl at like 2 a.m. while I was on 50 milligrams hydrocodone and 3 beers, and she randomly was like, will you sleep with me? Well, my fucked up ass thought she literally meant to go night-night with her, so when I got there, she asked me if I would give her a massage. Then, she started getting horny and one thing after the other. My dick was in her for the next 2.5 hours. Great times. Bruh, you gotta take it out once in a while. One time my friends and I were out drinking. After a few hours, I decided to grab a nice kebab and head home. On my way to the munchies, 2 guys stops me and one of them tells me that I fucked his sister. It made him angry, he said. I tried to avoid the situation and said, dude, I am sure I didn't sleep with your sister. Now please, I need a kebab. Out of the blue, the other guy just sucker punched me. Fell to the ground and both of them kicked my face when I was down. After a little, they left. My friend and I were hanging out with this pretty and fun girl and her not-so-attractive and standoffish girlfriend. I was really hitting it off with Pretty, and we went to another bar together, all of us, and ordered some drinks. My friend and I went to the bathroom, and at this point, I was completely wasted. When we come out, Ugly is entering the female stall and asks me in, and I'm so wasted I agree, and she just pulls down her pants and we go at it. My friend had this no-don't expression on his face as I entered. When we came back up, my friend and Pretty were sitting there like, what the fuck? Since her hair was messy, I still had a residual boner that was probably visible and my shirt untucked. It was pretty obvious. Pretty straight up, stood up and left. You want to go upstairs and say hi to my dog? 60% of the time, it worked every time. The other 40% of the time, your dog gets lucky. In college, I met a girl at a party and we hit it off. We started hanging out and she told me she liked making sweets and her favorite was rock candy. Eventually, I got the "I don't know if I want a relationship right now" text, and that crushed me. Saturday night, I was drinking at home, wallowing in my sorrow, when I got a text from her asking if I wanted to try making rock candy. My stupid drunk ass thought she actually wanted to make candy, so I walked the 3 blocks to her house and told her I was ready to make some. She said, "I didn't invite you over to actually make rock candy." Part of me was disappointed I didn't get to make any candy. But hey, forgettable drunk sex. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the channel. There are so many cool stories. Also, share your story in the comments. Bye.